the outlook for the room? Obviously, you don't really have like a headline guy, that's really established. So, I guess how would you evaluate the group now that you're a little more than a week away?
Um, it's been a great camp. We're young overall, just from an actual field time of guys actually playing Big Ten ball. But we have some guys that have played some ball. Guys are eager to prove themselves. I think it'll be more of a collective deal. We don't have the so-called, big superstar yet. But what I've challenged our guys to do is this is your opportunity to introduce yourself to the world. And we got some really good players, guys that play fast, play physical, team guys, you know, true Spartans. So I'm excited about the group overall.
And for Sean Nick's first year, that he had that breakout game at Maryland, and then he was on people's radars. When you come into a year like this and you don't necessarily have that guy like Nick was last year, where teams are game planning for him, does that help the group as a whole to kind of stay a little under the radar?
Uh, I wouldn't say that. Just there's some great defensive coordinators in the Big Ten. Whether you got a guy that has a big name or you got several guys that are just unproven but are good players. I think the preparation from a defensive standpoint will pretty much be the same. Our task is to, play fast, play physical, show up every single week, make plays downfield, and see what the scoreboard looks like after 60 minutes. Like I said, they're all excited. I'm super excited about the group also.
In terms of just playing different guys, how many do you anticipate you might play in terms of your room getting like substantial regular snaps?
Oh man, that's at this point, I haven't just narrowed it down, or we haven't narrowed it down just to a depth chart standpoint. So it'd be hard to say, but you could see going, 7 or 8 guys. Just depending on the game, the flow, situations, So, I think that will all, kind of hammer itself out in these first couple weeks of the season.
With McCray, last year, he's coming from a different place, and we saw a few moments, sort of flashes from one really great game late in the year. And I'm wondering what's the next step for him, and how you get that out of, like, where he still needed some either savvy or just maturing or technique, whatever it was. Where there's still room to go.
I think it was a little bit of all of the above, what you just said. We focused, over the last year and a half, just on technical route running, fundamental route running. It's these different conferences, man. There's a big difference in some of them, and I felt like he came here, he did some things well, but he figured out that I can't just be an athlete playing receiver. I really need to hone my skills as a receiver. So he's done a tremendous job of attacking drills, watching film, asking questions, wanting to know the why now, wanting to know how to attack guys versus I'm just going to use my athletic ability, because we run into guys in the Big Ten that, you're a great athlete, but there's guys that are bigger, faster, and stronger than you, and it comes down to fundamental and technical training at that point.
What was it like for you, Huck, as a coach, to see Rod go through the 8-9 months or whatever with no real end in sight, and for him to keep going the way he did? I guess what did you take away from that? What did you observe?
I tell you what, man, it's Rod is all you guys have met Rod. I mean, what you see from the kid is what you get. He is a tremendous human being. Through this whole process, depending on how you look at it, whether good, bad, or indifferent, he never wavered. There was a couple times where we had to have a little small conversation. He wanted to maybe get some things off of his chest, but he came in here every single day. You would have never known what kind of cloud was over his head. He worked his tail off every day. Never complained. He trusted the process that things were going to work out, and they did. And I'm super excited for the kid. He is, and he's trying to have a good year. That's the whole thing. He's been working. And I'm honored to be coaching him. Just to have the opportunity to be around him, because, some kids or some young men, this would have absolutely killed them. you know, but he didn't allow that, not one day, you know. So it says a lot about him and his parents, man. Just great kid.
Have you ever had a kid who kind of, I mean, a lot of people want to follow your footsteps in the NFL. He wants to follow your footsteps to be an AD.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rod, with the way that he's built, Rod can be whatever he wants to be, man. He's like I said, tremendous kid. Wants to make a career in athletics, whether it's, you know, opportunity to play on Sunday or, as you said, being a, you know, athletic administrator. But whatever he puts his mind to, he's gonna do it. He's gonna get it done.
Court, what would it mean to have a bigger guy, maybe Bryson Williams or someone else, emerge to go with your other top receivers? And what about the blocking, and how's that coming along?
Well, I mean, Bryson has had a really good camp. You know, we got a couple guys that got, you know, decent size, you know, but, you know, it's all about your approach. Look, man, I'm 5'10", 180, and we'll run into anybody. So that's kind of what I preach to my guys. You know, obviously, you know, you the 6'5" guy or 6'4" guy, he's pretty, you know. But there's some guys that are bigger guys that they're just big, you know. You know, blocking for us, when I talk about my guys, blocking is 95% want to. You know, I get out there, I teach you all these techniques and fundamentals about blocking, but it's 95% want to. Go get it done. And I think I got a bunch of doers in my room that are going to get it done, you know, in the run game. And they know if they don't, they'll sit by me on the sideline because we stand on no block, no rock. And that's part of who we are as Spartans.
One of your younger guys, Charles Taplin, what have you seen from him in the past year? So I know he came in last year, got into a game, I think, had a catch. But
Yeah.
Where have you seen him sort of take steps?
Tap, you know, one of the faster guys on the team. You know, he's flashed during fall camp. He's gained some weight since he's gotten here. So I think right now he's physically, mentally, and emotionally ready to contribute, and we'll see what that looks like in these next few weeks. But you know, he came in a little bit underweight, but now he's refined and he looks like a Big Ten wideout, and I'm excited to see, you know, what he brings to the table.
All right, thanks for your time.
Good.
Thank you.
All right.